Welcome, guys. Welcome today to Practical Emotional Intelligence Conversations. This is Sachin here, and we got Ambika also.
Hi. Hi, Geeta. Hi, Eiman. How are you guys?
Hi, Ambika.
So, Geeta, for some reason, is able to hear us but not able to talk. So, she will post any questions or anything in the chat, and I'll read them out. So, we'll continue the chat, and hopefully, Geeta should be able to talk also sometime. Let's see. Eiman,
Yes,
you
sir.
attended one call before. So, what was your experience like, and how did you think about our conversations further? What we talked about that day, and so just start with you. What came up, and anything to share?
Yes. Indeed, last week was my first session. I got to know you and Miss Ambika and other colleagues who joined the session. At the beginning, I was not well aware what is going to be discussed in the session. I thought it was more of telling us what we need to do and how we can be better at emotional intelligence. However, it was a group discussion of all of us. All of us had to put our insights and inputs, and it was more of a practical insight of how we can be emotionally intelligent. And we used practical life scenarios that we are experiencing at work, mainly at work, or in our personal lives. There are some points which was discussed which really made me think about how I am dealing with colleagues or how I'm dealing with things at work to make decisions. For example, looking at the other person's perspective, that is I saw that very, very important, because we need to see the other people's mind and what they are thinking about, what is their perspective, where they are coming from, and how we can show empathy towards their concern. That is going to help us a lot in being more collaborative and I would say achieve better results, because we work in collaboration to help each other and create a win-win situation. That was the main thing which I captured, and I found it as very beneficial in the last session.
Okay. And regarding the perception part that you mentioned, that we need to pick up other people's perception. Anything, any insight on that part? So, how to pick up other people's perception, or how to go about that?
Yes. So, let me give you an example. Yesterday, I had a disciplinary hearing with a colleague, where actually the line manager he came to me and he told me that I have a colleague who is always showing late to work, or he takes absence without prior approval from my side. And they were insisting that I need to issue this person a warning letter. So I said, okay, let me hear from him first, and then I will be able to judge whether he needs a warning letter or not. So after having the discussion with the colleague, I came to know that this colleague, he did not, yes, indeed, he did acknowledge that he did not go to work, but he had a very valid reason why he did not go to work. He first does not have money to go to the clinic to provide a sick leave certificate.
Right.
and he did not have any means of money to even call his supervisor. So I spoke to the supervisor and I told him this is the case, and in my opinion, it is unfair to issue him a warning letter because he had a valid reason. And then the supervisor shouted to me. He told me that we have given him warning several times, and we do think that he needs a warning letter. So usually in the past, if someone shouts at me at work, I will shout back, and I would take it very I would take it personally. Why is this person shouting at me? But I understood his perspective because he spoke with the colleague several times before. And he is frustrated that this person is always being absent, and operationally they are affected because they have to look for a replacement for that person. And he is also frustrated because I think he tried to get in touch with the colleague, but he was not able to get a hold of him. So all of that anger is coming out, but I managed to calm down. One of the most important things is just to be calm and not to react, and just to try to understand their perspective, why they are behaving in that manner. So I told him, okay, I understand your point of view and I am completely with you. Just to show empathy, I told him, I completely understand your point of view and I'm completely with you, but in my opinion, and if you agree with me, I don't think we should issue him a warning letter because this is the first case that is being reported to us in HR. We don't have any previous written records that he was absent or he had an attitude issue, especially that he has been a long time with the company. And second of all, he had a very bad reason. Salaries are not yet released. He did not have any means of money to go to work, to go to the hospital. So we need to also show empathy towards the colleague. So, and then he agreed with me. So I told him, if that is if you want, maybe the best solution we can do, we can issue him a verbal warning instead of a formal written warning, for him to at least communicate better in the future. And yeah, so that's how I dealt with it in this situation. Before, in the past, if someone is shouting at me or he is not understanding where I am coming from, I get frustrated. But now I'm thinking in a wider perspective on how we can think where the people are actually coming from, what they are thinking about, why they are showing their frustration. So that is it. I hope this is helpful.
That's a like to the point example, very good example of emotional intelligence. I think you summarize the essence of emotional intelligence in this story. That's what I can say. As going beyond the reactions and the emotions of people, and having that intelligence where you not only manage your own emotions but also the emotions of people around you. That is the principal fundamental of emotional intelligence. So you just displayed it. You just gave a demo of it as a practical. That's super.
Okay, thank you.
One of the things that came up for me when you were saying it is a quote that one of my teachers always says, and I always quote him. He says, freedom is psychological freedom we're talking about. Psychological freedom is when there is a gap between the trigger and your reaction. And that gap is what you termed as being calm. Someone may term it as power of discernment. Some other people might term it as patience. or whatever. But that gap, when that gap is identified in full awareness, not unconsciously because someone is frozen out of fear, or someone is under authority and wanting to just suppress the feelings. No, not like that. In full awareness, in complete authority of oneself, when someone can pause in that moment, that's freedom. That's the greatest freedom one can achieve. And freedom from the psychological mind and emotions which trouble us, like fear, anxiety, and eventually frustration, depression also. So I'm also very glad that you shared this anecdote, because it really tells how this can be applied at work. A lot of times we have heard as consultants that this is very good as a philosophy, this knowledge is very good in books, but I mean, everyday life, how are you supposed to apply this anyway? Like, this is too ideal, everybody is not going to become a Buddha. And we keep saying that this is practical emotional intelligence. It's not about the theory. Yeah, fine, the theories are great at their own place, but there is a very big and important part that these things play in our everyday life. And when we start applying and we have an experience, then we are all charged up to do it more. So I felt that in your anecdote also, that it's an evidence that how it really works, and a lot of world is now waking up to this. We are hearing less of that and more of how people are using it, and so that gives me also a lot of corroboration to what we think, to our hypothesis that emotional intelligence is practical and has to be applied in corporate. So thank you for that. Yes.
Thank you.
Just taking your story further, what you shared today. Yesterday I was working on something and a question came up, and I think this is the right time. So I didn't actually plan to ask this question, but because you shared this story, I feel that maybe I'll ask this question and see what you think from your experience in corporate and about people. What do you think about that? So the question that came up was that often managers and leaders complain that my team, my people are not taking full ownership and responsibility of their KRAs or their responsibilities, their tasks and things like that. They want them to take more ownership and responsibility. And even after saying and asking and all that, still, it's like it doesn't work. It still just seems like that people are still not taking it. And we were discussing this the other day, and a thought occurred that perhaps the thing that people are more worried is that at the end of the year there is going to be a performance review, and they are going to be judged for their performance, right? So they don't want to make mistakes. They don't want to create problems and all that. So it's better, okay, my manager is saying this, I'll hear it and all that, it's fine. But it's easy for me to just do what I'm asked to do. Because then if something goes wrong, then it's not my problem, because my manager asked me to do it that way and I did it. If it goes wrong, then it can't come back to me. But if I have to use my own brain, if I have to take responsibility, then I will definitely make mistake. And if I'm going to get reprimanded at the end of the year, if that's going to be kept track of, then that scares people off from taking ownership and responsibility. So they feel that they don't have the freedom to make that kind of mistake where it doesn't. So the question that came to me is, how would it be? Let's say if we look at how we do performance review in a totally radical way, right? And this is a hypothetical I'm suggesting, and I want to have your opinion on this. Hypothetically, if we change the performance review process or approach and say that if my team is making any kind of mistakes, I'm not going to judge them on the basis of their actions and their decisions, which is what happens right now. So I'm saying that as a leader of that team, I will not judge the short-term decisions and actions that my team member has taken. I will only look into what was their intention behind that decision and action. What were they thinking? What were they trying to achieve by that decision? So I will ignore the decision and action altogether. Doesn't matter if it was good or bad. I will only focus on the intention. And by focusing on intention, over long term, I will be able to empower my team and their decisions and actions will improve, because now I am giving them that freedom. Like this example you shared, that you didn't go by the action this person has taken, but you actually look behind the intention, that what happened. And by doing that, you actually build more trust with the person. How would the performance review look like if this approach is taken?
It is a very good question that you have raised, and performance management has been always a question, and scholars are always looking for different ways on how to evaluate performance, not in a subjective manner, and to make sure that it is fair across all the organizations. And it is always a challenging aspect, and still there are always new ideas coming up. And the question that you have raised is very valid, because it's not about the short-term decisions. It's about why you came up with that decision, and what was the result, and what was the intention behind it. Now, if we keep on judging our team based on their short-term decisions and interfere in between, so they will not be empowered, and every time they will have to come and ask you for a decision, and you will have to make a decision for them. In my opinion, especially when it comes to performance evaluation, every person has a set of KPIs, and these KPIs will be definitely communicated with the employee, and the employee should be given a full autonomy and accountability to achieve those targets within the year. It does not matter how he reached there, but it's the intention and how can I say this in a proper way? No, I mean, how he reached there, of course, it is important, but what I meant to say is ethically, yeah? It's very important that the person is ethical to reach his goals, but we should not be micromanaging the employee to reach his targets. We should give them full autonomy and responsibility to make decisions and be creative to reach their goals. And I would say, for example, what is currently happening, for example, with me, although I have KPIs, I have arranged my meeting minutes along with those KPIs, for example, okay? So I have a document, it's called meeting minutes. I have set what is my KPIs, and every week I have a meeting with my manager, and I just give an update about what is the current status of these KPIs, and then if there is any guidance that is needed from my manager, then I will ask him questions and seek guidance. But so by this, I am given full freedom to do what I can do to achieve my tasks. And at the same time, my manager can give me guidance if I am stuck somewhere. And by that, we are both working with each other and supporting each other to reach our goals. So it's not only my accountability and it's only me who is going to be at fault, if something wrong happens. It's both of us. We are in this together. So that is how I see it. That is my perception about it. What do you think?
Yes. I think I think that's a very nice approach. Yes, and that is exactly what I was also trying to. When I asked you the question, I also had a similar thing in mind, and the reason I asked you the question is to clarify, or to maybe bounce back and see that do you also think the same way. So I think you have answered that with the help of this example.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now the thing is that
Then, sorry, Sachin, but then also, I would like to add onto that is that sometimes you will be given a set of responsibility or a project where you think that maybe this is not the right time, or maybe I don't want to work on this at that particular moment. I want to focus on more important tasks, which I think it is more important. It will add more value to my career. We need to be very flexible, I would say, with our colleagues or our team. And we need to understand their emotion behind it. Why do they feel this way? And we have to allow them to express their feelings and be open about it, and we should not react to it. What I realize, so many managers, they might feel offended if they give their staff a particular task or a project, and if the colleague expressed his feelings that I am not that comfortable doing this project right now because I am busy and I have to do certain tasks, and honestly speaking, I don't have experience, so I don't know how to go about it, and I think we should keep it on hold. And I think that the manager should not react on that. He should listen to the employee and understand why he is feeling this way and what type of support we can give. You can try to persuade the colleague to do it, but not to pressurize him, because see, if he really still not confident to do that task or a project, then and if we still insist that he should do it, and if there's any mistake that happens, then we should support the colleague. We should not tell him that this is only your mistake,
Yeah. That is exactly correct, and you are also right that some managers, some leaders don't practice emotional intelligence to the level that they should, depending on the position that they are in, and also they have to take care of the people. So yeah, the point that you are making is totally valid, and all I can say is that those managers need to upskill. They have to look into, they have to question the approach. They have to question the approach that is it working? Yes, you are trying to be hard on that, and all only looking at the result, and if this didn't complete, why it didn't complete on time and all that. Yes, you are doing it, but how effective is it? How much are you burning in the process? Yourself, your staff, your health, their health, everyone suffering. How much is on stake here, and is it not worth just to even experiment with a different approach? That's what I can say.
Yes.
I feel that the culture of the organization also plays a big part in this. When I worked in the past, I have had managers who were very concerned, who were who would have asked me, acknowledged also, but at the same time, they were too much under pressure from their higher ups. And the culture of the organization was such that even if a couple of people are concerned and they are conscious of what's happening, they are not able to act accordingly. They are forced to act otherwise. So a large part of their behavior is seen by the staff as someone who is pushing and pulling. But at the same time, given a chance and an environment where they can thrive, those people could be very, very emotionally intelligent and amazing people to work with. So to me, I feel yes, some upskilling for the managers, but as well as working on the overall environment by default, bringing those elements of empathy and mindfulness can change a lot of things on their own. Like it's like the playground and the air we breathe changes, our health automatically improves. Right now, there's very less pollution, and we all might actually experience better health in next coming months as a result of breathing clean air for a whole month of lockdown. But we will not probably directly relate to it. It's not a very direct, very clear, visible link. But it will definitely have a positive impact on us. So I feel culture is something like that. It is not seen, it is not visible. We can't directly link it and show it through a psychometric test of how this has helped people to be more emotionally intelligent and more productive. But at the same time, it is one of the major factors of this process.
And to add to that, I think this can also be practiced team by team as well. So it doesn't have to be
overall.
Like a huge undertaking that now let's do it for everyone. But maybe a small team can start, and one of the leaders who is up to this thing and want to experiment that, okay, I'm going to run my team this way. And I've decided that the culture of my team would be this. So instead of me judging people based on the decisions and the actions that they are taking, see, once again, KPIs will be KPIs, goals are goals. People are still going to be, they still have to achieve their objective. We are not talking about that. We are talking about just the approach, the criteria by which we judge them. That's all that we are saying. Goals are still the same. They still have to do the same thing. But instead of me taking a hard approach on just only looking at someone's results or no results, and then making a decision that this person is so many warnings we have given, this, that, and if we just continue with that approach, that is one way that we do. Another is, don't worry about that part. Think of it that, okay, the decision was bad and I could have made a bad decision as well. But what was the intention? What was the thought process behind this decision? What was this person thinking? And if that thought process is spot on, I mean, like the person may have evaluated the whole thing very well, but then when they decided and did something, it went wrong. That could happen to anyone. So encouraging people to think correctly. First, encouraging them to think properly, because we focus too much on doing. We don't focus too much on the thought process. And if we encourage them that, yes, I agree, the thought process that you applied behind this decision was good, and unfortunately it didn't turn out the way we hoped. So better luck next time. That kind of thing, that empowers the person. That person feels, okay, no, I didn't get reprimanded for this. So it encourages them to do the right thing next time as well. I'll take an example for this. As we are talking, I'm just remembering this example, which is quite different from a corporate scenario, but I think that it fits. So a few months ago, one of my close friends, very close friends, he came to me with an option to invest in a business. And it was December, last year in December. And it was a very good proposition. And we decided this person wanted to raise some money for to expand his business, and he's also like a friend. He's a relative of my friend. So we decided, let's give him a chance, and we both together put some money in his business. But 3 months, 4 months later, we still haven't received the return that we were supposed to. And a lot of things happening now. Coronavirus situation is happening. His business is affected. Before that, some other problem, and all that was happening. So I wrote this message to my friend yesterday, and I told him that, look, I know that your intention behind this was good. I know you wanted me to benefit from this scenario, and you also put your money, I also put my money. Unfortunately, the decision or the action didn't turn out the way we wanted. But please understand that this has not affected our friendship, and in future, if you come up with another option, I will still consider that, because I know your intentions were good. You didn't want me to put my money in a bad situation or anything like that. But yeah, unfortunately, it turned out that way. So what can we do? I could have also made that kind of bad decision as well. But when we evaluated, it looked all good, and he's a trusted person, family person, all that kind of thing. But now it didn't. So I can't just look at the decision or the action and then blast the head of my friend and say, you brought this person to me, you asked me to put money in there, I lost this, I lost that. I can't do that, because that doesn't make any sense. He didn't do it deliberately. So that kind of, then he replied back, so it kind of empowered him also, thinking that our friendship hasn't got tarnished by this. And not only that, I also told him that in future also, if you come up with another option, I'll still consider that. So don't think that this has I've lost trust on you because of this, because I haven't. So trust was based on intention, not on the decision or not on the action that was done, and not on this scenario. My trust is not tarnished, because I know his intentions were good. So yeah, that's the story that came to my mind. I know it's unrelated to the corporate scenario, but I think I just wanted to highlight the part that if we think from the point of view of intention, and not just base our decisions or our judgments on the fact that, oh, but this happened. This is the right now in front of me. This is the reality. Yes, that is the reality. I could have also made an error like that myself as well. But I have to look at, was this person trying to cheat me? Was this person trying to make me lose my money or something like that? And I know he wasn't. He put his money as well along with me.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello? I can hear me, na?
Yes.
Yeah, actually, Mr. Sachin, I fully agree, because then again, you have different kinds of managers also. There are certain leaders who do encourage their their employees to go ahead and do whatever they want to like. There is a certain level of support given, and yeah, I do agree that if you value a person, if you value the feelings of that employee more, then he'll be encouraged also to go ahead and contribute.
So now the next question is that, why do you think that this approach, or what is the hurdle in implementing this approach?
The hurdle I feel is a human nature is not very much like black and white. Okay, if you do like this is the outcome, and you really can't be very sure of a person's intentions. Like, it is what he says. So there again, I mean, there are a lot of gray areas here also, like, because humans are, I mean, constantly changing. So you really never, yeah.
That is a trust issue. If we cannot, if we cannot go by the intention, if someone is telling us the intention, we can't trust that, then that's a trust issue between the team and between the person and the manager to begin.
Yeah, sort of trust issue, but then it is also true that a person, I mean, can change over a period of time. So, main hurdle would be, of course, like, I mean, there are certain people who can be very manipulative with this.
When do people turn manipulative, and when do people become more trustful?
Certain people are like, I mean, when they feel their needs are not met, maybe then people try to manipulate things. When they are under stress, maybe they try to manipulate things when they are distressed.
Is it that also, like, I'm just thinking, like, when a person who is selfless by nature, who is usually very
Yeah.
trusting kind of a person, even if their needs are not met, would they turn manipulative?
Are you asking that would that person turn, would a selfless person turn manipulative?
Yes. What I was trying to understand also, and in the same time I'm also contemplating that when do people turn manipulative? When does manipulation start? And you said when their needs are not met, when their
Yeah.
basic things are not met, they turn manipulative. Which is also
Right,
something that
right.
I've seen and experienced, that people turn very manipulative if they need, and it could be very basic things from food and shelter to, for example, sex and many other things that people turn.
Pardon. Again, I'm not able to understand you. I'm so sorry.
Right. Okay. So I'll just start, maybe use a headset then. Hi, can you hear me now?
Yeah, now it's better.
Okay. So I'm saying, when you said people turn manipulative and people have different kind of needs, and that's the reason they do. And I was
Yeah.
quoting an example of, could be basic things like someone stealing bread because they are hungry, or someone
Yeah.
manipulating another opposite sex for sexual needs or something like that. And it could be
Yeah.
at a very higher level, if we go to see that someone needs recognition, to manipulative,
Yeah.
or someone. So these are all different kinds of needs. But what I'm
Yeah.
trying to explore here is also that if someone is very selfless by nature, and some
Yeah.
people are like, they just trust in others all the time, and would those people turn manipulative in those moments of need, or what would they do? What is that they would take as an approach? And I'm just throwing this in the circle, not that I know of an answer or something, uh, but I'm just thinking that, is it always the case that it is needs, or it is something else also playing out?
Mm, Actually, I'm also thinking about this, but then
Mm-hmm.
a
Yeah.
person who is very selfless, then don't you think then again it depends on the circumstances, like, which that person is
Mm-hmm.
facing, will that affect?
Like, give me an example.
uh, Manipulation, I feel like, supposing in a, like we were talking in a corporate setting, no? So there
Mm.
the manipulation will be mostly like, I mean, to gain the upper hand over others, like.
Mm.
So
Mm. Yeah, gaining an upper hand or proving a point or proving performance or also wanting specific people to grow and not others, so the bias. There could be many reasons why people manipulate, and there could be more. This is just coming from what I have personally experienced, but there could be many other factors responsible for why people do that.
Yeah, that's what like I was asking. Like, I mean, from your personal experience, what do you feel like? I mean, if a leader gives a lot of, I mean, freedom and value to a employee, will that, I mean, with that person, like suppose, then again it depends whether the person who is getting the support of the leader is a selfless person or a manipulative person. So, whom do you feel progresses more, a selfless person or a manipulative person? Because a selfless person would anyway be like, I mean, he would be quite happy with, I mean, with whatever he is getting, like.
True.
Hello.
That is true. Yeah. So not everyone would be. Someone who is selfless will probably not be as manipulative. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Like Sachin said, that not everybody could be manipulative in that case. I got reminded of this example of Titanic. You remember the last scene when people are trying to save some others, and some people are dressing up as women and sitting in the boat. What happens? So I feel it's like that, like no matter what the dire need is, someone who is, I feel, selfless. They might help the other people to actually, save their lives, sacrificing their own. But at the same time, there could be people who might go to a point where they dress up as women and get into the So, this there's this basic inherent difference I see in people, which is their level of consciousness or their level of understanding of life, or just generally how their nature is, whatever is their fabric. So when you said that people do get manipulative and when did they get trusting, so then the question arises that what makes them more trusting and what makes them manipulative?
I personally think like this is maybe I feel that the discussion got a bit on a tangent, but I feel that we were talking about the approach, that should we judge people based on the decisions that they are making or on the intention. Yes, there will be manipulative people. I think that is true, but then those people can manipulate in both scenarios also. Yeah, I mean, those kind of people will always be there. But then, should we make or not make the rule just based on few of those people and then have the rest of the people pay the cost? So I'm still trying to bring this to a point or a conclusion that that acknowledging that there will always be people who are manipulative in nature, but what exactly is the point of that? What are we trying to say? They're there. We acknowledge that they're there. Like whatever process we'll put in place, there are always people who will manipulate the system anyway. So, still trying to understand the link between this and what
so the link what Fatima and I felt was that it is that when you say intentions and whether to base the decisions on intentions or not, that to base their decisions, they need to have high level of trust.
Correct.
And if there are manipulative people in that position, they will not be able to. And this is this basic level of consciousness that is playing a part in this approach.
I think if the trust doesn't exist between a manager and his team members or between team members, there are bigger problems to solve than this. This
Yeah.
whole process we are talking
Yes.
about is we are assuming trust exists.
Yeah, but
Now,
she was questioning that trust itself.
yeah. And if the trust doesn't exist,
Yes.
then there are many more problems that will arise. Now,
Yes.
then no process will. You cannot put a process to build trust. There is no
True.
such thing as putting a process in place to actually build trust between two people. Process cannot build trust. Process is executed on the basis of trust.
True.
Yes. True.
Yes. Yes.
So I think everything we are talking about, we are trying to base it on the assumption that trust already exists. If I cannot trust my team members, then I've lost the battle already. Like then there are bigger problems in the team.
See, if there is no trust in the beginning, then the team will not perform. They will not believe on what you want them to achieve. They will not believe on what is your objective and
Absolutely.
what is the
They will
team
not believe
objective. So
their leader. They will not
yes,
believe anything their leader is saying, doing. Now forget about what process you put in place. If the trust is not there, then I think that's a whole new topic in itself to discuss. I think that we can probably take in next
yes,
call.
yeah.
So, even any point to add or anything to share before we close today?
Thank you so much for the session. I think we really need to incorporate emotional intelligence with performance management. There's a very good point that you have mentioned. It's not about KPIs and achieving results. It's about the person's emotions and well-being, and we need to keep on thinking about this constantly in order to motivate the staff to perform. So I think we really need to think about that, and maybe we might need to also have another session because it's very broad perspective. It's a very big topic that really needs to be considered and very well thought of. So yeah,
True.
thank you for that.
We can continue this chat tomorrow again. Let's think more about it and let's explore more angles on this tomorrow.
Okay.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Eiman.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Satine and Ambika.